Have you ever heard of a story so powerful it could change the world? A story of a man who went from being a fierce opponent to a legendary leader, whose name is still whispered with reverence more than 1,000 years later. This is the untold story of Umar ibn Al-Khattab, a man whose journey from the shadows of opposition to the pinnacle of leadership is nothing short of epic. Before the dawn of Islam in Mecca, Umar was a force to be reckoned with. Tall, strong, and known for his fiery temper and sharp intellect, he was a respected nobleman of the Quraysh tribe. He was a champion wrestler, a skilled poet, and a successful merchant. He embodied the pre-Islamic Arab ideal of strength and honor. But when a new message began to echo through the valleys of Mecca, a message of one God brought by his kinsman, Muhammad, Umar's world was turned upside down. He saw this new faith, Islam, as a threat. It challenged the traditions of his ancestors, the social order he knew, and the polytheistic beliefs that had defined his people for centuries. Umar became one of its most vehement and feared opponents. He didn't just disagree, he actively persecuted the early Muslims. His reputation was such that believers would hide and pray in secret, terrified of crossing his path. He was the embodiment of resistance, a wall of fury standing against the rising tide of Islam. But destiny had a different plan. The story of his conversion is one of the most dramatic and moving events in Islamic history. It began with a heart full of rage. One day, fueled by anger at how Islam was dividing his people, Umar drew his sword and marched out with a grim intention to end the life of the Prophet Muhammad himself. On his way, he was intercepted by a man who, hoping to distract him, revealed a shocking secret. "Why don't you first look to your own house? Your sister, Fatima, and her husband have also accepted this new religion." Blinded by fury, Umar changed his course and stormed towards his sister's home. From outside, he heard the faint sound of recitation. He burst in, his anger palpable. He confronted his sister and brother-in-law, and in his rage, he struck Fatima, drawing blood. The sight of his own sister, bloodied but defiant, standing firm in her faith, stopped him dead in his tracks. A wave of shame and remorse washed over him. He saw the parchment they were reading from, a portion of the Quran, the chapter known as Taha. His sister, seeing a flicker of something new in his eyes, allowed him to read it, but only after he purified himself. As Umar read the sacred verses, something profound shifted within him. The words, so beautiful and powerful, pierced his hardened heart. They spoke of a merciful God, not of idols carved from stone. They spoke of purpose, of justice, of a reality far greater than anything he had ever known. The fury in his heart was replaced by an overwhelming sense of awe and truth. The wall of anger had crumbled. With tears in his eyes, the same man who had set out to kill the Prophet now walked to his doorstep with a completely different purpose. He found the Prophet and his companions gathered in the house of Al-Arqam, a secret meeting place. The companions, seeing Umar approach, were terrified. But the Prophet Muhammad, with divine reassurance, welcomed him in. There, in that humble home, Umar ibn Al-Khattab, the staunchest enemy of Islam, declared his faith. He proclaimed, "I bear witness that there is no God but God, and that Muhammad is his messenger." The moment was electric. It is said that the Muslims, who had been praying in fear and secrecy, shouted Allahu Akbar. God is great. So loudly that the sound echoed throughout Mecca. It was a turning point. Umar's conversion wasn't just a personal victory, it was a monumental event for the entire Muslim community. His strength, his influence, and his courage were no longer directed against Islam, but were now its greatest assets. From that day on, the Muslims were no longer afraid to pray openly at the Kaaba, the sacred house in the center of Mecca. Umar, with his imposing presence, stood guard, daring anyone to challenge them. He earned the title Al-Faruq, which means the one who distinguishes between right and wrong. He brought a new era of confidence and boldness to the once persecuted followers of the new faith. After the Prophet Muhammad passed away, and following the caliphate of his close companion Abu Bakr, Umar was chosen to lead the rapidly growing Muslim community. His 10-year reign as the second caliph of Islam is considered a golden age, a period of unprecedented expansion, justice, and innovation. He wasn't just a ruler, he was a revolutionary administrator, a compassionate leader, and a visionary who laid the foundations for a civilization. As a leader, Umar was known for his incredible humility and sense of responsibility. He would often walk the streets of Medina at night, disguised, to check on the condition of his people firsthand. There are countless stories of him carrying sacks of flour on his own back to feed a hungry family, or personally attending to the needs of widows and orphans. He famously said, "If a wolf were to die of hunger on the banks of the Euphrates, I would be afraid that God would hold me accountable for it." This profound sense of duty defined his rule. He established the Islamic Hijri calendar, which is still used today. He created a formal treasury, organized a standing army, and established new cities. He introduced pensions for the poor and the elderly and created a system of public administration that was fair and efficient. Under his leadership, the principles of justice were paramount. He famously declared that all people are born free and equal, and he held his own governors to the strictest standards of accountability. There is a famous story where he summoned the governor of Egypt and his son to Medina after the son had unjustly struck a common man. In front of everyone, Umar ensured justice was served, reminding his officials that their power was a trust from God, not a personal privilege. Umar's leadership wasn't confined to boardrooms and palaces. He was on the front lines, both spiritually and militarily. During his caliphate, the Muslim world expanded to include lands like Jerusalem, Egypt, Syria, and Persia. Yet, when he entered the holy city of Jerusalem, it was not as a conqueror, but as a humble pilgrim. He arrived on foot, his servant riding the camel, dressed in a simple patched garment. He refused to pray inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, fearing that future generations of Muslims might try to convert it into a mosque, thereby protecting the Christian holy site for centuries to come. This act of respect and tolerance became a hallmark of his governance. His life was a testament to the transformative power of faith and the incredible potential within every human being. He went from being a symbol of opposition to the very symbol of Islamic justice and leadership. His journey teaches us that no one is beyond redemption and that a person's past does not define their future. He showed the world what it means to lead with strength, compassion, humility, and an unwavering commitment to justice for all. The story of Umar ibn al-Khattab is not just a piece of history, it's a timeless lesson in leadership, change, and the pursuit of truth. From a man blinded by tradition to a visionary who shaped a civilization, his legacy continues to inspire millions around the globe. He is a giant of history whose shadow stretches across the centuries, a powerful reminder of how one person's conviction can truly change the course of the world. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the past. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories that have shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what you found most fascinating about the life of Umar. Until next time, stay curious.